And we are underway. Beautiful day that is now seeing a few storm clouds on the horizon, but not for the U.S. It would take a disastrous downfall to take the sunshine out of Jurgen Klinsmann's eyes at the moment. Phil Shane and Thomas Rongen with you. That one just across. It'll be a throw-in for the U.S. Saint Vincent has caused a few problems in qualifying. Trinidad, in fact, had to come from behind twice, Thomas. Myron Samuel, who's out there right now, one of the reasons, but credit to the U.S. A flurry, that long ball forward, really, for Alex Anderson, the only dangerous chance.
Yes. The set piece, and obviously Samuel, as I said again, with his speed causing some problems. But this is the U.S. game all the way. Very, as I said again, professional in performance. Some highlights. Altidore and Wood can play together. We've seen that now against subpar opponents maybe, but that spells well for the future when Clint Dempsey comes back. Talk about Clint. Good hell, you know, all the wishes to Clint Dempsey with the hard circumstances. Wish you well, Clint. But that's nice to see. Bedoya in that central position is being good too. He's like we call it a shuttler. You know, like a Vidal, like a Pogba. He's got such a great engine there, and it's so important.
Out to the midfield, quickly chipped in. Gazan handles it on the hop. Again, as you see, the breeze over on the far side seems to have swirled around in the other direction.
And can they continue to press now and allow us to see some of the younger players later in this game, Phil? That would be awesome to see. The Jordan Morrises, the Nagbys, the Rubens, the Pulusics of the world on this team to get an opportunity and hopefully see them with more minutes, depending on the TNT game against Guatemala next week at home in Jacksonville against Trinidad and Tobago.
It was Christopher, the 21-year-old, 6'5" keeper, beaten 3 times. Not much he could have done about it. Durham and Benjamin and Richards helping out on defense. McBurnett, Gordon, Emerald George in the midfield. Credit to St. Vincent. They've tried to come out and attack, already knowing that they don't have a chance to advance. So put on a show for the home fans. Ball spins out wide for Emerald George. Tries to slide it in, but Cameron in good position. Discretion, the better part of valor that time.
And it took a page out of Juan Carlos Osorio, the head coach of Mexico, and played with 3 in the back, a 3-4-3. That was the approach.
Nice turn by Samuel. Gets it off the give and go, but Yedlin clears. Ball comes off the arm of Bedoya, but unintentionally. Out comes Gazan, strong. Clatters into, it looked like Gavin James perhaps, and grabs hold.
Nice to see that both goalkeepers, and obviously with Guzan starting here and Howard starting in a few days against TNT, they're both getting playing time. So that's just key. Clean sheet last week for Guzan, for Boro in the EPL. Well done, Brad. And those are important things for Klinsmann going forward.
Let me ask you that, though, because in the first half you were saying splitting time between the goalkeepers is not always good.
No, I say that they're both in form, which is a great luxury to have. But sooner or later, you got to say, you're my man. And you just have to respect my decision because you're going to sit.
What have you loved today? Hashtag what I loved or que te gusto. Send us your thoughts. We'll put it on the locker room. Brought to you by Ford.
Do you feel this is different than club soccer, where we can say, you know what, you get all the cup games and maybe some European games. You start in La Liga every game. You keep people happy. These are must-win situations each and every game. Start the best goalkeeper. And I'm not so sure who the better goalkeeper of the two is.
Bedoya whistled for a foul. There is an argument. We saw him on the bench earlier, the young Molde-based keeper Ethan Horvath, that maybe it's time to even look to the next generation. He's been impressive.
Yes, he has been.
Yedlin long. The spin, though, checks, and Altidore has to settle for a throw-in as Benjamin heads it clear. There's Johnson. A lot of time in the center of the park. Wood out wide for Zusi. As Johnson, but bypasses him for Acosta.
That's the reason why Phil, opening up the lane for Acosta. Give and go with Johnson maybe here.
Johnson tried to drive it through the challenge, but done well enough by Theon Gordon. And here a 4v3 if they hurry. Touched wide, 2 men in the middle. Anderson trying to turn, shoots. Guzan tries to stop it. It trickles through the 6, and it's knocked into the net, but it's not going to count. Myron Samuel arguing, but offside the call, and the U.S. gets fortunate.
There's good recovery of that back four, and Beastler was there trying to apply some pressure on the ball. We need to get a better look on that. Guzan, there was a collision there as well. Might have been right, Phil. There was some offsides. Those are situations where the U.S. just needs to be careful. Offside right now, without a doubt. If that's a rebound and a stretch, get a touch of the ball and a piece of Brett Guzan as well. Good call by the assistant linesman. Flag goes up immediately, and Guzan gets the brunt of that collision.
Guzan actually did quite well, considering the fact that the attackers were right on top of him.
And that's maybe the only area where you are a little hesitant when you play better teams, because if you allow Yedlin and Acosta to go forward, then there's a lot of space out wide. And with some speed, all of a sudden now Beastler and Cameron need to get into areas, Phil, where they're not so comfortable. 1v1 situations with space behind them where guys can take them on.
That's the question with perhaps a Brooks or an Omar Gonzalez looking over their shoulders. Kept in play by McBurnett on the far side. Anderson in the middle, but stripped away by Bedoya. Now it's Kyle Beckerman, attacking midfielder in his youth. Might be the dreadlocks that dragged him backwards. Probably feels right at home in Saint Vincent.
We haven't called his name very often, which is a good thing with Kyle Beckerman. He sits in there, he plugs holes. Ooh.
Strong challenge on Emerald George. It's going to be a throw in. The ball had already gone out. Yedlin flying forward and seemed to have maybe tripped. Tried to keep it in play. So a gutsy effort from Yedlin, but he's slammed into by Emerald George.
And Emerald George has already made his mind up to get off the ground and make some contact, trying to play the ball. Whereas Yedlin just pulls the ball back and is just in a position, stationary, when he cannot avoid contact. That looked initially almost like a quarterback out of bounds, getting hammered by the linesman. That's a flag.
Our first substitution coming for the home side. Gavin James, the English-based attacker from Maidenhead United, replaced by Tevin Slater, a little closer to home in Antigua. 21-year-old forward making his 15th appearance. Strong from Myron Samuel. Gets the ball inside again. Looks like Saint Vincent starting to put some pressure on. Again, almost the same exact spot. And Zusi bumps. There's a good look at Slater from Parham FC.
Yeah, that's what desperation does to you, Phil. This team right now 3-0 down. They have nothing to lose. They're going to throw numbers forward, which means they're going to be very vulnerable in the counterattack. Opportunities for the U.S. to extend their lead. And it's a little bit like almost an out-of-control kind of urge and pressure by this team. A lot of contact, a lot of 1v1 situations. The key right now is for Cameron and for Beastler and for Guzan, the leaders in a back, to just make sure that, hey, stay focused, stay concentrated. Let's don't give anything easy. Let's see this game out. And as I said again, allowing some other people to come from the bench, maybe.
Good work by George. Sneaks it across the top of the 18. Faking the pass on the way, and Stutter stepping over the ball. Driven back in by Samuel. Anderson maybe should have taken a shot. Instead, it's the U.S. pushing forward. Nice from the big man, Sean Benjamin. 41-year-old center back, and he sneaks it inside for Anderson. Well played by Cameron this time.
Again, I use that word again, the Sufriko, which is normally the holding midfielder or center back. If you can win the ball without fouls, which Cameron does right there, that's the art of defending is gone a little bit.
Zusi acrobatically winning that one off the attempted clearance, but the pass goes awry. Strong challenge on the far flank by Acosta. Kellen Acosta out wide, whipped up and over everyone. Or cross from Wood.
And here you see again Cameron. That's good defending. Again, getting in front of the goal site, we call that. Locking them down, staying on your feet, maintaining possession. That's so important as well, and starting the attack from good positions.
Anderson, the 20-year-old prospect for the Seattle Sounders, shown some flashes here today, but nothing catching fire. Costa misses the clearance, gives it right back to Saint Vincent, and in all honesty, the last 4 or 5 minutes, it's been the hosts who have been the aggressors. Cameron again on the turn. Poked free by Stewart, but the whistle blows. It'll be a throw-in for Saint Vincent. Edge of the 18, back to Samuel, who's retreated into the midfield. Dangerous ball, edge of the 6. Middle of the volley, off of Guzan and into the net. Oh, what a goal, but it looks like they're going to wave it off again. Samuel with the cross. Did Anderson get an early start?
We need to get a look at that again, Phil. No pressure on the ball, which is not good, and another great decision by the assistant linesman.
Daniel Bello on the far side gets them both right.
You're playing with danger, though, Phil. If there's no pressure on the ball in midfield, you've been taught that from a young age. You drop. You keep play in front of you. You keep your opponents in front of you. You don't get into a 50-50.
Here they come again, and this time it's Beasler pinching in to take it off the substitute Slater. Corner kick, and St. Vincent, you can see them asking the crowd to get into it.
Again, Beasler right now getting on his feet. Well done by Matt Beasler, getting out of bounds, get reorganized on this corner.
Myron Samuel towards the penalty spot. Bedoya with a touch. Cameron out of his spot. Up steps Theon Gordon. Picks a target. On the volley. Missed by Samuel, and he won't get a second chance.
Now the maturity of this team really comes into play. 2 things to relieve pressure. Right? 1, keep possession, fair enough. But if that's impossible right now on this field, Phil, it's very simple. Play long balls over the top, turn that team into a defensive team, get your lines up, and you apply pressure right now. Not pretty, but very effective.
That's what the U.S. is trying to do to this point unsuccessfully. And St. Vincent has had 2 goals called off correctly, but 2 balls, both of the offsides, maybe a yard between them.
Yes.
Now, if you're Jurgen Klinsmann, 3-0 lead, approaching the hour mark, and you're thinking about making substitutions, and now all of a sudden your team is looking a little shaky, what do you do?
You're going to wait till 65, 70, maybe even 75 minutes to make those changes. It was comfortably in the first half. It's not now. I think he'll stay with his team, which he should, quite frankly, for a longer duration than he initially would have done if the second half would have started differently.
Well, let's see if the U.S. can get a 4th and take it off the boil. Here's Zusi. Best way to stop a comeback. Altidore, Zusi back to Altidore. A bit of space. Drives it inside. Johnson couldn't control it, though. And Theon Gordon comes away with it. And here they come again with the afterburners on. Cornelius Stewart tries the switch, but Cameron was in good position. The clearance, though, straight back to Emerald George. I have a feeling Cornelius Huggins is wondering where this team was in the first half. Goal in the 28th from Wood. 4 minutes later, Beasler off a poor clearance with a good volley, and then Altidore from the spot a minute before the half.
Beckerman doing all the little things right in this game. Defends well, which we always know. Keeps the ball moving against a inferior opponent.
Into the area, trying to drive free. Bobby Wood has gone ice cold in this second half. Here's Bedoya. Thought about it. Maybe should have. Instead drives it in, and Roy Richards was there. Altidore challenging and got enough of the man. He'll be whistled for the foul. Nice from Emerald George. What is it that St. Vincent is doing, or what is it that the U.S. is not doing?
They've taken the foot off the pedal, without a doubt. It's been an easy game in that first half. That's again why the maturity of this team, the professionalism just needs to stay there. You got to see this game out, and seeing this game out, Phil, is having the mentality to go to 4 or 5, not sitting on 3, allowing this team that's very athletic, that's got a great mindset, and has nothing or everything to play for, that throws numbers forward. You just need to be tactically a little bit smarter. Quicker ball circulation, better position, switching the point of attack, stretching this team vertically and horizontally. That's the way to go, as they're doing right now.
Beckerman in, Johnson back.
Much better starting positions, Phil, right now.
You can see Beasler expecting someone to be where they weren't, and Beckerman forced to retreat all the way to Gazan. And a poor clearance by the Borough man, right back to Saint Vincent.
I hate to say this, Phil, but this is okay. Get numbers forward, make it harder in the throw-in, win first and second balls, which they're doing right now, and you're off to the races.
But to the inside, but the run went out. Now for Bobby Wood, just starting his European campaign. And I guarantee you it's not 95 degrees in Hamburg.
No. It's great to see Bobby Wood come this far.
Nice. But the touch to Yedlin looked like there was contact, but the referees say no foul. Lucy up a bit slow. Good look at Jurgen Klinsmann barking instructions at the edge. Bedoya getting a little bothered, and Myron Samuel giving it right back.
There Samuel again, the Seattle player, the one that Ezra Hendrickson recommended to Ziggy Schmidt. Obviously that has changed now at Seattle. Bedoya getting a little annoyed here with Samuel. That's part of the game. We'll play on.
There's a step over by McBurnett. Didn't work according to plans. Now it's Acosta. Zusi is open, but that's why.
Anybody that tells me that Acosta can't strike a ball with his left foot, sorry. That's his best position. I know he's played centrally for Dallas, and for that team is particularly good. For the next step for him to be an international player, left fullback is his best position.
And it just happens to be a position the U.S. is a little in flux in. Cornelius Huggins, Outlaw, his nickname back in his playing days. Not sure his mom liked it. Lifted forward nicely and just gets caught under the wheels of Samuel. Fights back to get it and pulls down Cameron in the process. Field actually has held up rather well. See a few divots here or there, but has not been the nightmare, although now you can see them stepping into that pitch part of the pitch.
Jeff Cameron, without his usual center back pairing, Mr. Anthony Brooks from Hertha Berlin has really stepped up for his team. It's not the first time he's played with Beasler, but I like really the way Cameron is stepping up here, taking responsibility, being hard and being simple on the ball.
Another collision. Acosta a little slow to get up. Slater tries to flick it on to Anderson, but it carries to Yedlin. Who stepped up for you today?
Look at Alejandro Bedoya. That's one to me that have really stepped up well. I call him the shuttler. He's just playing from 18 to 18.
Altidore takes the extra touch, chipping it in. Here's Zusi. Tees it up, drives it, but deflected away. Samuel getting some help from Roy Richards. The cross inside to the near post, but the whistle blows, and just as soon as we compliment the turf.
Altidore has been very good in the day as well, involved almost in every goal. Scores the PK. There you see Graham Zusi, but he does so well for Kansas City, getting around the corner, good 1v1. But to me right now, we talked about that spine, without Bradley, without Jones, without Dempsey, without Brooks, that spine has been very solid. Cameron, Bedoya, and Mr. Altidore, to me, have been the best players on the pitch so far. Wood has chipped in, though, without a doubt. Zusi has done his work on the right side, as he's supposed to do. Fabian Johnson, the same thing, assist on the first goal.
Substitution about ready to step in. Talked about how there was not a legitimate playmaker out there. That could be changing. Anderson saw it bouncing and knew he wouldn't get a second touch if it came down. Tried to head that one over and couldn't quite. Sasha Kleshtin called out of purgatory and now back in what will be his 47th appearance for the U.S. Nice ball in. Altidore tees it up, trying to adjust Wood in mid-flight, and it will lead to our first change for the red, white, and blue.
If you're giving a player that's been probably over the last year in that particular position the most consistent MLS guy, it's Sasha Kleshtin, without a doubt. I'm so happy he got included. He deserves it. There's other guys that we've talked about could have been there as well, but Sasha Kleshtin is a more of an attacking threat than Bedoya, has the willingness to work back, but is a little bit better in terms of the final third with his ability to really open up defenses.
And meanwhile, Christian Pulisic also checking in. Fabian Johnson will take a seat. So Bedoya and Johnson, two of the workhorses, I guess, that are rather well groomed, getting set for Trinidad and Tobago. And we get the chance to watch the return of Sasha Kleshtin, and some might say the U.S.'s next bright young thing out wide. And here is the Borussia Dortmund man. Had a chance to move. Liverpool apparently throwing some money around. Jeff Cameron Stoke as well, but staying at Dortmund. Ball in. Kleshtin with his first good chance. Pulisic drives it to his left foot, or back to his right. The shot gets parried away and out for a U.S. throw. And another substitution getting set.
Liverpool would have made sense. Jurgen Klopp was really the coach that brought him along, so that would make a lot of sense. I don't know what it means, Phil, giving Pulisic, the number 10 jersey. Are we putting too much pressure on him? In 1 minute in this game, in 10 minutes in the Copa America, that this kid is going to be one of our better players all time in the history of this game. You can just tell by the touches, his intelligence, the way he moves. He's a top-rate footballer.
You had the chance to know quite well the coach that kind of got him started in Pennsylvania. Ball in for Altidore, whacked away by Roy Richards. And while most of us are used to seeing him work his magic on the flanks, especially for Dortmund, Pulisic says he's more of a number 10, more comfortable in the inside.
I mean, just look at that there. His awareness, his understanding. Exactly.
And then gives the ball away on the commentator's curse. Beckerman turned the long ball up for Anderson, asking too much, and Biesler will track it down. Facing the Birds out of the field of play, and back to Beckerman. They'll turn it up. Johnson skillful on that flank, especially for Mönchengladbach, but there's something silky smooth about Pulisic, and Kleshtin maybe more of the creator than Bedoya. So a different look now for the red, white, and blue. And Pulisic wide open. Altidore and Zusi in the inside. Overlap from Acosta. The two youngsters team up. Driven across. Slapped away. Nice save by Christopher, and he gets some help. Kleshtin trying to win it back, but can't.
I don't know if we're going to see it again, but Pulisic just looking over his shoulder, having that awareness, having that feel that Acosta's going to make that run, and then playing a great ball in stride.
Patrick pushing it forward to Anderson, and the offside flag comes out again. Anderson, perhaps frustrated, kicks it into the net, and well, let's see if there's any mercy from Mathieu Bourdeau. Alex Anderson getting a talking to, and you can understand his frustration.
That's the third time now of sides that threaten a little bit with their speed. In order to get in those positions, and there you see Acosta again, goalkeeper Christopher coming off his line, spills it, nobody there.
But you see what he's trying to do. This is actually not a bad adjustment. He's thinking about slapping it, and he sees Kleshtin. So he opens his hands a little bit and guides it in between the two attackers. 21-year-old Lemus Christopher might have a promising future. Just his third cap. Up steps Kleshton. Whacked away by Benjamin. And the U.S. will get it back. One substitute to use. You look at the bench, and if there is a lot of attention on Christian Pulisic, there's also on Jordan Morris. And without Dempsey, maybe a chance for him to shine. Zusi inside. Wood. Back for Kleshton. In for Pulisic, who tucks it home. Oh, what a goal for the red, white, and blue. And the two substitutes combine to stretch the lead to 4. A beautiful ball from Kleshton, Thomas. But look at the touch from Pulisic to bring it under instant control.
Absolutely brilliant. It was just a lush delivery into the channel. Great one. First-rate touch, followed by a stunning strike by Mr. Pulisic.
USA 4,
And
Saint
Phil,
Vincent the Grenadines 0.
203 at Clint Dempsey, at Bobby Wood. 205 was Freddie Adu. 207 was Freddie Adu and Michael Bradley, Danny Satella. 209 was Dilly Duca. This kid is better than any of those players. And no disrespect, guys. Don't phone me tonight and tell me, Coach, we hate you.
There's something about Pulisic, but perhaps even more important for Sasha Kleshton. He was given an opportunity and he responded. The United States was struggling just a touch, and Kleshton comes in and with a golden touch helps the U.S. take the pressure off. Looked like Josie Altidore has come out. Don't want to push it too much coming back from his hamstring injury.
We're referring to, as we said before, Bedoya as being that shuttler. Sasha is the new number 10. Like a Modric, for instance. Like a Rooney almost. Very mobile. Good final pass, as Rooney had against Rashford for the 1-0 win. Like Modric does every weekend for Real Madrid. Sasha fills in that mode.
And it is Jordan Morris, the Seattle Sounder, facing two of his mates for his 10th cap. And he did the opposite. Pulisic decided to go abroad. Morris elected to stay home. See Saint Vincent down a man at the moment. Might be cleat issues for Theon Gordon. See if the U.S. can capitalize. Morris, 5'11", 185 pounds. And for a player that big, he's a burner. And making the run here. Tucked in Pulisic. Acosta didn't quite get it under control. So is this, I hate to use the expression, mission accomplished?
Yes, it is, without a doubt. I mean, if you would say before the game it's 4-0 in the 75th minute.
Here they come again. Inside Pulisic, but everyone vacated Roy Richards with an easy clear, but sends it straight to Acosta. Left foot volley as he sends that one over the bar.
And we can use Pulisic and Sasha Kleshton and Morris. Yes, it's certainly.
You get Beasler back in the picture. Here's Acosta, but Omar Gonzalez, who was called back in, still not out there. Maybe he'll get the chance against Trinidad and Tobago. You still have Nagbe, you still have Rubin, Ariola.
And we'll see those
and
guys.
Caleb Stanko.
Yes, we see those guys on Thursday without a doubt. Maybe not again at the start, because it's important again to have continuation, the build from the Copa now into this game, and then further down the line. That's important too. It's not just about next week. It's about the Hex. It's about Mexico. It's about Costa Rica. So you got to still continue to fine-tune with your key players as best as you can and integrate and bleed those young players in if you have the opportunity.
Lucy chips it forward. Headed clear by Durham. Gordon out. Teron Miller is in. Defensive midfielder. 27-year-old veteran. Dropped back towards Zusi, but split the difference. No chance for Kleshton, and cleared away for the corner. There you take a look at Gordon. Looks like he might be cramping. Hopefully nothing more serious than that for Saint Vincent. Some good players, but it's not easy. You only have 120,000 Vincentians. The U.S. plucking from a pool of what, almost 350 million. Headed high in the air by Wood. It goes awry, and a goal kick up coming for Saint Vincent. U.S. will win the group if they can hold off Trinidad and Tobago. Guatemala, of course, desperately needs a victory. And now another water break with 15 minutes left. Well, some might look at this and say it was easy. St. Vincent did have a few chances, and you can see some of the increased competition in Concacaf that is only going to get tougher. Large part of that having to do with Major League Soccer. The growth even of USL and the reserve leagues, giving some of these Caribbean and Central American players alternatives or stepping stones. We're even seeing it even to the north in Canada, who are going to be in action. In fact, are. You can check that out on beIN Sports Connect.
It's interesting to see, Phil. Obviously, some of the older players are coming back for several reasons. Salaries and money is still good. Living circumstances is something that they always enjoyed. Raising their family. The Michael Bradleys, the Clint Dempseys of the world. Alejandro Bedoya just came back as well. Some people say it's good. Some people say it's bad. Jurgen Klinsmann, when he first started the job, wanted everybody in Europe. Well, there's really nobody that Jurgen Klinsmann urged really on a high level in Europe anymore. Anthony Brooks was discovered by somebody else. Bobby Wood was there already.
Trying to figure out who that guy might have been.
There might be a few, but the MLS players currently are still carrying this team. You look at Michael Bradley. You look at, you might even throw Tim Howard in this mix as well. You look at Clint Dempsey. You look at Altidore. It would have been Jesse Sarders if he wasn't being injured. So those are 5 or 6 key components of this team going forward that all play their trade in MLS. So MLS is not as bad as people maybe see it from a distance. It needs and it deserves a little bit more credit, quite frankly. And it's not always right for young players to go to Europe. Phil, I had discussions with Chet Marshall. Benfica wanted him, Feyenoord. And I said, Chet, you're a California boy. I think you will struggle. Robbie Rogers went to the Netherlands. After 2 weeks, he came back crying. I can't handle it. I miss my mother. Michael Bradley stuck with it. Goes to Bundesliga, eventually Italy, Serie A, and here he is.
Bobby Wood, well, far cry from Hawaii.
Certainly is. But he went at 14, 15. Took a huge gamble. Nobody heard about him. Good for him.
Pulisic in. Nice pass off. Sneaks it inside, and they return the favor. Kljestan in full flight, and the U.S. has stretched it to 5.
I don't want to get into too many superlatives, Phil, but both of these players have made a huge difference. And the reason is both are technically very proficient and tactically way ahead of what we've seen, of that starting 11, quite frankly, and that speaks volumes. The hard part is great run by Pulisic, great run by hard run by Sacha Kljestan. And again, the right way the ball on the ground. Look at head up, it's swiveling. Look at Sacha Kljestan understanding space and timing. What a great goal by these two brilliant players. The problem is, Phil, we only have 2, 3, or 4 of those. So now, are you going to say we are that good? We can play teams off the pitch? Probably not. So you have to resort again to strength, mentality, going hard, being hard to play against. And I think we finally are. When can we make that step? And can we say we can put Sacha Kljestan, Pulisic, Nagbe in the starting 11?
Well, Kljestan with his 5th goal, his first goal for the U.S. since 2010.
Wow.
So, mentioned Guatemala needed the upset. They needed something to go their way. It didn't happen. That means Trinidad and Tobago will be trying to hold on to the top spot. Is that, as you kind of alluded to in the outset, when these two teams meet next week,
I think the U.S.
that
prefers
something that you would rather do, to win the group,
yes,
go in, even if it means
yes,
Mexico in your first game?
Yes. Let's take on the big dog at home. The U.S. always excels under tough circumstances. They've always been able to get to the World Cup, to the Hex. play in big games, come back from the Guatemala loss and win at home.
Morris with Christopher well off his line. Morris using his speed, turns back inside. Yanks might not be done yet. Wood plays it in. Here's Zusi. Pops up, laid off Pulisic, tried to flip it, but cleared away. Back comes Myron Samuel on the turn. Double teamed and draws the foul.
And a W at home against Mexico, your biggest rival, who put you on the front foot and put Mexico under great duress. So I think that would be a good matchup, and one that the U.S. players and coaching staff would prefer.
Something as well to consider here. This is helping the United States when it comes to winning the group. Trinidad had started the day with a single goal advantage. Should they beat Guatemala as expected, they would move up by 3, but then should the U.S. beat Trinidad, they'd be tied on points, and it would come down to goal differential. So these 5 goals going a long way towards helping the U.S. Beckerman, good control, thighs it down, and still in play. Wood trying to chip it forward. No foul called from Mr. Bordeaux. Looking for some consolation, but Jeff Cameron has other things in mind. Pulisic on the turn. Morris in the starter gate, and he'll now have a chance to run in for Kleshtin. Drives it near post. Had help in the middle. Maybe a touch too greedy from Sasha.
Yeah, he could have played Jordan Morris there to make a hard run, but the ability of these two players right now to find great chemistry, Kleshtin and Pulisic, is just very hopeful to see going forward. The weight of the passing is perfect. The run is well timed, not off sides, just off target by Sasha Kleshtin.
Again, was it 6.5 years in between U.S. goals?
I remember when I saw him at Seton Hall for many shell shots, and many said, brother. Thomas, look at this kid. And I brought him on the 20s. I played him as a holding midfielder because he was so comfortable in the ball, similar to Dylan Powers.
You had him at Chivas USA too.
Yes, at 209. Picked Brett Guzan as the #1 pick, and everybody said the Dutchman is crazy.
He still might be, but blasted up and over towards the players' pavilion. 7.5 minutes remain. Well, no Clint Dempsey, no Michael Bradley, no Jermaine Jones. The United States pulling out 5. No Brooks. And they still have the clean sheet. Pops up on Kleshtin. It's fortunate with a second touch. Acosta back to Kleshtin, now wide for Pulisic. Rolls it in on the run. Kleshtin with a touch around, tries to get it back. And this time tried to pass it off, but cleared.
About my time there, Phil. It should have been the first time strike by Kleshtin as well. His timing, his ability to get in the box without the ball is very unique. And if you got players around you like Pulisic right now that can find you as well with good weighted passes, you're lethal.
Michael Bradley, another good one that's good at making those ghost runs. Ducey looking for options, but telegraphed a bit, cleared away by Roy Richards, 32-year-old veteran. McBurnett out wide. Patrick into the middle. Anderson. Samuel. Anderson double teamed and poked free by Beckerman. Here's Zusi.
Now, Phil, before you and I start jumping up and down, it's still Saint Vincent the Grenadines.
Good ball inside. Laying it back, Jordan Morris. But looks like it might have come off of his arm, maybe from an offside position regardless.
A little levity in this game. But we've seen some bright stars and some great substitutions and some solid performances of the players that we needed to play well today. Brett Guzan, Cameron, Cal Beckerman doing his thing. And Altidore up front with Bobby Wood striking a good partnership, and then players off the bench right now making a huge difference. It's all you can ask for as a coach. Make a difference for me, which Kljestan and Pulisic certainly have done.
Nice from Cameron. Zusi through Kljestan. Up steps Pulisic again. Tries to step around the defender, but it carries across the goal line. And you talk about, well, it's Saint Vincent, but there have been St. Vincent's in the past in the United States, even if they've won, have not looked convincing.
True.
This has been convincing.
Yes. But it's still St. Vincent.
Well, now you get to the Hex.
There you go.
In Mexico, now joined by Trinidad and Tobago and the United States. So the 6 are down to 3 spots left. Canada and Honduras still scoreless. We'll be checking that game out as soon as this one is over. Of course, mentioned that Panama-Jamaica game tonight as well. And El Salvador still hoping for a miracle. Still in their control. Pulisic. Eckerman.
Clearly the games to watch is if Canada can tie that game actually and then go back home to play El Salvador, they might have a shot.
DeAndre Yedlin. U.S. able to stay in control. In fact, it's been Acosta who's probably been the more aggressive of the 2 fullbacks. Wood back to Yedlin off the give and go, but took a while to get. Still onside. Yedlin a weak cross. Up steps Richards. Eckerman. So smooth. Wood couldn't bring it down though. McBurnett retreats. Morris challenging. Christopher clears. Good step up by Cameron again. Is center back his best position?
Oh, without a doubt. I don't know why people have even experimented with that. He's a prototype. The way he walks, the way he talks, the way he plays, the way he sleeps, the way he breathes. Absolutely. I don't understand why people put him or experiment with him in other positions. That's the same with DeAndre Yedlin. He's not a 7. He's not a wide attacking player. He is a fullback. Yes, needs to become better without a doubt. But Doy as a central player can play out wide. I can see that one a little bit. Fabian Johnson in midfield and left fullback. Okay, some similarities.
Morris over to Pulisic, the 2 young phenoms. Pulisic with a goal and an assist. Morris.
It's been a process for Klinsmann, just as it's been for this team as well, Phil, I think. Try to find his footing, get a better understanding of those players, because for a while, all of us, let's be real honest, looked at this and said, what system are we playing? Is he playing? Why are we playing players out of position or not in the right positions? And slowly they've gotten there, which is excellent, because where they are right now, going to the Hex, they're only going to get better in my opinion.
And another generation that you're aware of, some of these 17, 18, 19-year-olds, as Pulisic takes it right on the noggin. Some of those young stars ready to blossom.
Well, we have a kid that starts every game as a center back for in England,
Carter Vicks.
Carter Vicks, exactly. I mean,
Yazga's going up to Vitesse Arnhem to get a little bit of seasoning.
Heinemann might get some minutes.
Luca Della Torre playing in the Cup, another youngster at Fulham. So
Perez at Fiorentina.
Our side Kljestan in a foot race, but he's not going to win it. Daniel Patrick with a burst of speed. Well, maybe I take that back.
I like to coach that team. All the names you just mentioned. Oof, we be exciting.
Hey, Josh Gadd is healthy again.
Oh, there you go. Talk about speed.
Leaves vapor trails. Here is Kljestan.
That's another one that killed. Actually, Mole they killed. Solskjaer didn't want to release him to go to Guatemala. If I would have had him and Zhao.
Maybe a bit of concern, maybe my imagination, but Wood seemed to pull up. And you see just a hint of a limp.
Hint of fatigue as well, I think. He's gone. He's been pounded. Him and Josie really early on got this team going, Phil, with their power, their strength, playing to goal. Josie involved in the first goal of Bobby Wood. He's going to be very satisfied about the performance of both of these players.
Slater flicking it on, the 21-year-old helping to earn a throw in.
Everybody's healthy. We've got some decisions to be made by Jurgen Klinsmann going forward. Just throw Brooks in the mix, Dempsey in the mix, Michael Bradley in the mix again, Jones in the mix again, with some of the emerging players like Kleshtin and Pulisic.
Again, what's
Pick
the
your
old
11, Phil. Come on.
the old Bill Shankly line about you need 7 or 8 piano movers? I think we're looking for the maestros, though, and we might have found a couple more. Nice layoff, chance for Stewart, but cleared away by Beasler. All the way back and laid off by Sean Benjamin. 3 minutes added. United States and Saint Vincent coasting in.
3 minutes of added time to be played at the end of the second half. A total of 3 minutes of added time to be played at the end of the second half.
Burnett dropping all the way back. Up steps Stewart into the area. Slater on the turn, shoots just wide. Nice run by Tevin Slater as he tries to whip that one home. Almost a goal of honor for once the flag stays down.
But the recovery speed by Yetland right now still makes it a very, very tough strike for the attacker and Cameron as well. In that we talk about the arc of concentration on both sides, the U.S. has been very good. Tough, disciplined, good pressure on the ball in the defensive arc of concentration, and pretty lethal, particularly in the second half, in the arc of the final third, combining good runs, great passes, and getting some good goals out of that.
Duplicating the 5-goal margin from the 6-1 in St. Louis, the largest shutout margin in more than a year when they beat Cuba 6-0. Zusi. Question on the turn. Drops it to the top of the box. Pulisic. Oh! He could hear the footsteps, but he didn't care. Pulisic with a brace, and it's 6-0 USA.
That was just one handsome attack, Phil. Again, 2 quality players being the orchestrators of this. Sasha Kleshtin and the Borussia Dortmund phenom, Mr. Pulisic, was just a calm, collected, inside of the foot, far post finish.
And you know this as a player. How many players would hear the footsteps, know the defender's coming in, and to take the time to pass that into the goal?
There's not too many, Phil. That's why I've said this kid is special for different reasons. There's a word that Gert Miller taught me, Fingerspitzengefühl. This kid's got a unique
say that again?
Fingerspitzengefühl. He's got a unique feel for the game, first and foremost. He glides. He's got instincts that you can't teach. You just can't teach. And then he's fundamentally, technically very sound. Always looks over his shoulder. Very good field awareness. And the combination of all of that, he can strike a ball, he can pass a ball, is going to make him a very, very, very good player. Is he there yet? Probably not.
Fingerspitzengefühl.
Richtig.
Aye. Now that's off to Morris, the only one perhaps left to get his name on the score sheet on the overlap for Kleshtin. There's still 3 in the box. Here's Wood at the top, but just poked free, and that is going to do it. The final whistle with a little bell at the end. Christian Pulisic with his 2nd goal of the day, the 3rd goal of his career. The U.S. breaks out to a 3-0 lead, and the substitutes carry it across the finish line.
And they certainly did, Phil. A good start by this team, a professional start, I would say, on the road to get 3 points with a structure, with a good organization, by taking their chances well in the first half, and then building, after the first rough 15 minutes, building to 5 and 6-0. Great performance by this team.
Advances to the Hex, showing the Hex to St. Vincent 6-0.
This match was brought to you in part by Valvoline, Cricket, and Ford.